Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, the motion picture you're about to see contains scenes so terrifying, the public must be given grave warning.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. I am your host, Sewer Dweller, and we are celebrating WWE Summerslam weekend with one heck of a movie. Today we are watching El Santo and the Fist of Death. For those who don't know, El Santo is a legend, and I mean a legendary luchador. We'll talk about him a little bit before we get into the movie, but he's a legendary luchador from Mexico, of course. Most well known during the 60s and 70s. And one of the things, there's a couple of things with lucha libre wrestling, and things like that. You know, most of them wear masks. Masks, of course, they never take their mask off. They very rarely take their mask off in public. And they are actually the big Hollywood movie stars in Mexico. At least they were back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. So needless to say, Santo was one of the biggest ones. Did a lot of action movies and of course a lot of horror movies. So the movie we're watching today, the El Santo and the Fist of Death, is actually his second to last movie. He would only make one more movie after this one. And I think he passed away shortly after that last movie, if I remember. But we'll get into all that here in a little bit. But right now, let's go ahead and get into our haunt and horror news for this week. There is a lot of horror news this week. Or not horror news, haunted house news, haunt industry news, because Scream, what is it? Midsummer Scream just got done. Um, yeah, Midsummer Scream just got done last week. All the theme parks are starting to announce their stuff because they opened in less than a month, a little over a month, maybe less than a month. I think Universal Hollywood Studios, or not Hollywood, Universal Studios, Hollywood and Orlando both open in like 26 days or 28 days. They both open on August 30th. This year, the 29th, of course, being the preview night for 300. If you feel like spending $350 to go see a movie or to go see a haunted house, or to go not just a haunted house, but $350 to go to Universal Studios for the night for less people to be there. But speaking in Universal Studios, we are going to start in Universal Studios Hollywood, as they announced another new house and scare zone at this past weekend's Midsummer Scream. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Legacy of Leatherface. Leatherface and his cannibalistic kin will lure you into their gore-filled slaughterhouse. Fall victim to a gruesome original story in honor of the 1974 movie's 50th anniversary. In the scare zone, monstruoso luchadores monstruosos get caught in the middle of a horror film about lucha libre. Two luchadors are going to the mat against a horde of masked monsters. Will you survive the battle? I'm hoping this is a new headphone, new mic, so hopefully it's actually sounding good for you guys. I hope it is. Um, until I can get a more professional one. Um, they're going to the mat against a horde of mass monsters. Will you survive the battle? Roaming monsters along French Street will include the cave monster, the horror wolf, and the water demon. Luchador poster art featuring these villains will be available for purchase. So yeah, now we get a Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, another Texas Chainsaw Massacre house at Universal. I think Six Flags is doing some Texas Chainsaw stuff, but I think that's the one that's only down in Mexico. No, the DC one's the one in Mexico. I think the one I'm thinking of is in New Jersey. But yeah, there's more stuff coming out for Universal Studios, and I'm looking forward to it because um, it's gonna be great. I'm not gonna get to go, of course, because our haunt starts on the 13th, and I don't see me getting down to Florida or Hollywood anytime soon. So, moving on, this year's Fright Fest at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California, will feature a record 11 haunts and 9 scare zones. Fright Fest has collaborated with Trick or Treat creator Mike Doherty. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry, I was gonna go through the houses real quick first. Before I went on with the story because this is pretty cool actually. There's 11 houses. One, two, three, four, five. Six of them are new. So on the way, I am literally on the Six Flags Mountain Magic Mountain website, and we have the new houses are Stranger Things, the Conjuring universe, Saw's 20th anniversary, Trick or Treat, and Army of the Dead. Those are your new haunts. I'm sorry, and Aftermath, Nocturnal Hunt are your new haunts in Six Flags Magic Mountain. Returning haunts, you have Condemned, Forever Damned, Truth or Dare, Willoughby's Resurrected, Vault 666 Unlocked, and Sewer of Souls, which the image I'm looking at has a werewolf almost, so it's almost like a werewolf haunt. Uh, we'll figure it out when we see the videos. There's really not. I can't click on him to tell me like any story backstories or anything like that. But their new scare zones, or the scare zones they're gonna have, like the one, two, three new ones, including Underworlds of Oz. That's gonna be really cool. What the hell did this thing just do? All right, my computer's being dumb. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Back to. But Underworlds of Oz, Plaza de la Muerta, Grimlore, Ridge, City Under. I mean, those are your three new ones. And then returning scare zones: City Under Siege, Nightmare, a twisted fantasy, Devil's Triangle, which looks like a pirate theme, and Carnival, spelled Carniv, Hell, Exile Hill, and the Dead Zone. Monstertainment, Sliders of the Night, so they're gonna have their sliders, and Invasion. Um, so yeah, a lot to do at Six Flags Magic Mountain this year. Um, hopefully, if you live in California, but if you can get to it. But Fright Fest has collaborated with Trick or Treat creator Mike Doherty to bring the film's universe to life, including taking guests inside Sam's pumpkin house for the first time. While specific details weren't announced, the team explained how its mazes would expand on the worlds instead of recreating movies scene by scene. Therefore, guests might encounter new characters in storylines. Fright Fest runs select nights from September 19th through November 3rd. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $99 for Fright Fest Extreme admission and $149 for Fright Fest Extreme admission plus Fast Pass. You do need a separate ticket to get into Fright Fest than you would Six Flags Magic Mountain. They do have a combo pass that you can buy. I've already closed out the window, and I know I saw it. Didn't get a chance to check the price, but if you're in California and you wish to attend Six Flags Magic Mountain, yeah, give it a shot. Check it out and try to do both because Magic Mountain seems pretty cool. I've never been to a Six Flags park, surprisingly. But now to come back over here to the East Coast, Howl Scream at SeaWorld Orlando has announced 4 new haunted houses, 3 new scare zones, and 2 new themed bars coming to this year's event. Let's see, where is I know there it is, SeaWorld Orlando. So the new haunted houses coming to SeaWorld Orlando this season will be Farm 51. Picture this: you stumble on an abandoned farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. The air is thick with dread, and the silence is broken only by the eerie rustling of the cornfields. Suddenly, you realize you are not alone. The chilling whispers of extraterrestrial visitors echo in the darkness. They've crash landed and they're not friendly. So we have an alien haunted house coming to SeaWorld Orlando. Um, a returning favorite haunted house, you have Delirium 666. You're invited inside the headquarters of a unique mercenary group established by the government to counter the threat posed by the sirens and other dangerous sea creatures. While these creatures are typically unseen in human occupied territories, recent attacks on humans at the surface necessitate a swift resolution. We've allowed the public to tour the recently expanded facility to gain support and understanding for the cause, but you will not be alone in your journey. So SeaWorld's got basically a sea monster haunt coming this year, or I guess it's returning this year, which that sounds awesome. Um, Also, new haunted house, Ultimate Gamble. Welcome to the Ultimate Gamble, where the stakes are life and death, and every step you could be your last. Let's see if I can. Twitter's still being stupid. I hope it'll start because I have premium. That's the thing. I have a premium account on X, so I don't know why they won't let me stream there, but hopefully we can get that fixed. But yeah, life and death, and every step could be your last. This house offers a chilling blend of high stakes thrills and ghostly terror. Will you beat the odds and escape with your life, or will you become just another ghostly patron trapped in the casino's eternal game? Face your fears and place your bets at the ultimate gamble where the house always wins. Um, and there's 2 more haunted houses to come. It looks like they're going to be announced. I know they said you keep an eye on their website because they will be announcing. I got the right Facebook page. Yeah, Bloody Binge. Yeah, that's my page. I don't know why it's being stupid. But you keep the eye on their page every Thursday, and they'll be announcing more stuff. There are two sinister shows. Hold on one second, guys. All right, had to meet you guys there for a second because I needed a sip of drink or I was going to start coughing like hell. Um, the new sinister shows is Monster Stomp, which I love Monster Stomp. They've been doing that at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg for years, and I love it. And Siren Song, a mesmerizing performance where sirens feast on your greatest fears. And then the scare zones they have, you have Seeds of the Coven is one of the new ones. Enter if you dare into Seeds of the Coven, where the line between nature and nightmare blurs into a sinister reality. A place where the natural world has turned against humanity, twisted by the dark arts into a landscape of fear and peril. Will you escape the clutches of the witches and their horrific creations, or will you become just another part of their gruesome harvest? Enter if you dare, but remember the coven is always hungry, and at night they sow the seeds of terror. This one looks cool. Paradise Palms. Check in, but you may never check out at the Paradise Palms. This scare zone turns a once idyllic roadside haven into a nightmarish trap. At this seemingly abandoned motel with its faded pastel paint and overgrown palms, you'll uncover a chilling history beyond its weathered facade. Will you travel the motel's mysteries? Will you unravel the hotel's mysteries? I will learn how to read eventually, guys. And escape its haunted grounds, or will they stay? Will this stay be your last? And then there's returning favorites: Bloodlight District, Toxic Turmoil, Terrors of the Deep, Carnival Pier, and then there's one more coming, but they haven't announced it yet. That's gonna be one of them, like Thursday ones. And then they have interactive bars. So many of them. Wow, Jesus. Um, I need to go to Orlando if I want to drink. Interactive bars. You have Space Gate 3. There's really nothing describing them. Sacrificial Spirits. Tormented. This is one place where a cold, frosty one is a good thing. Take refuge from the wintry terrors of the Arctic hellscape outside and do a little refueling here. If you're feeling mischievous, you can even join in and frighten your fellow expeditioners while they're having while they're braving the horrors beneath the ice. How's that for refreshing? That sounds awesome. It sounds like you'll be able to join in and scaring. Honestly, we have Longshoreman Tavern. This year there be a new tavern. I'm sorry. Let me get my pirate voice on. Uh, this year there be a new tavern in port where pirates warm their bellies with flaming rum. You might hear tales of mythical monsters and intrepid adventures. You might discover an old sea world treasure that's been partially resurrected. Take a break from the sirens and squalls and plant your weary hides here. The longshoremen are dying to entertain you. I did my best pirate impression. Let's see. Hopefully, you guys like it. And then finally, Carnival Curiosities. Step right up to a world of wonder and evil. Don't be fooled by the unknowing wonders who make their way to this specialty bar. The carnival magic is contagious and don't let it infect you. So, yeah, there's a lot to do in SeaWorld Orlando for this. Hollow Scream in Orlando will run select nights from September 6th through November 2nd. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $34.99 for single night general admission. Basically, that tells me again you need a separate ticket for this. Um, Moving on again. Going back out to California, Knott's Scary Farm. That's one of the parks that is on my bucket list. Is going to see Knott's Berry Farm at Halloween because they're one of the original um, parks to start doing Halloween haunted houses and that. But I would love to get to Knott's Scary Farm in Buena Park, California. They announced that the all new Yours Cruelly Elvira experience at the Walter Knott Theater. This experience will feature classic moments throughout the 20 years the Queen of Halloween performed in the Ghoul Time Theater. Cassandra Peterson herself will appear on 3 select nights during this year's event to meet fans and sign autographs. Learn more and purchase your tickets today on the Not Scary Farm official website. Not Scary Farm preview event Nightmares Revealed returns on August 22nd. This ticketed immersive experience invites lucky guests, excuse me, to be the first to learn about the all new mazes, shows, and nightmares coming to Not Scary Farm for the 2024 Halloween season. Tickets are $20 and will go on sale Monday, August 5th. Dude, you can go to that for $20. That's a really good buy. And not to mention, they're doing a big Elvira. Elvira did a show out there for like 20 years, every Halloween, and I'm hoping you can't hear my chair squeaking. And I never got to see it because I've never been to California. But Elvira's awesome. I mean, I always like watching her show growing up and everything. So keep an eye out for that. And she's also a really great person. I mean, I've met her a few times at conventions. She does not really dress up as Elvira anymore, though, unless she gets paid like a lot of money. So you'll get to meet redhead Cassandra Peterson, but not unfortunately, you will not. You will probably not get to meet Elvira. Um, Moving on, staying in California. When hinges creak in doorless chambers, something big is likely happening. Well, and it is because the Haunted Mansion will rematerialize ahead of schedule at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. The ride has been closed since January for extensive renovations in the outdoor queue area, creating a more spacious experience for guests waiting to enter the attraction. The original reopening date was rescheduled for August 23rd, but Jack Skellington and the Disney team worked their magic to allow the ride to reopen 3 weeks early to guests on Monday, July 29th, so this past Monday. Guests can now ride the Haunted Mansion holiday through the fall and holiday season. Basically, if you've never seen it, if you basically lived under a rock, really. But during the holiday season, usually from I think it's August or September through the holidays, through Christmas and that, they take the Haunted Mansion, the classic Haunted Mansion, and they put a Nightmare Before Christmas twist on it, and it's always fun to watch those videos. Like the dancing ghosts go from being like blue to green and red. Um, a lot of the characters you like from Nightmare Before Christmas are in the mansion and everything like that. And it looks like a fun time. That's another thing on my bucket list, to get to California for Halloween one year. But work on the attraction's outside queue is unfinished, though, so guests must use the virtual queue to access the ride. And see, I thought that the outside queue is what they were actually going to be working on. That's what they were doing, is making it like bigger. So I guess we'll have to see. Um, Moving on, the year-round haunt Labyrinth of Fear, the ward lurking in the darkness, has reopened at Fuji-Q Highland. I'm gonna I'm gonna butcher some of these names because this is in Japan, so I am going to butcher these names, guys. Fuji-Q Highland theme park in Yamanashi, Japan. Um, just in time for the park's 60th anniversary. Renovations have been completed on this attraction, often referred to as one of the world's longest haunted houses, as it takes just under an hour to navigate, if you escape at all. New features include a lengthened long hallway, now 180 feet, oral surgery room, and examination rooms. Tickets can be purchased at the park for 4,000 yen, which is approximately 25.93 per person. Um, that sounds good. I'm actually gonna have to look up videos on this. I didn't get a chance to do that. I got a lot of this news today, guys. I've been really busy. It's been a really hectic week, but I got a lot of this news today. Um, I'm gonna have to look up videos on that because that looks awesome. It looks great, and it really does. Like if you see pictures of it, it looks like the facade itself looks like a hospital you'd find in like a Resident Evil game or a Silent Hill game. It looks creepy as hell. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. But moving on, this is something cool for you Hocus Pocus fans. On Friday, September 20th, from 6:30 to 10:30, fans of the film Hocus Pocus can step inside Salem's Old Town Hall in Salem, Massachusetts, to take part in their own Halloween costume party during, wow, DePaul events. I Put a Spell on You masquerade. The exterior of the old town hall is prominently displayed in all of its Halloween glory during the film's iconic Halloween party. The party will include live performances by Salem's favorite witch sister trio, a DJ dance party playing music from the 80s and 90s, 80s, 90s, and today, with favorite Halloween tunes mixed in, bars, souvenir gift bags, and more. I've always loved the idea of celebrating films in their actual shooting locations. That is, yes, yes, says event producer Jeff DePaoli. I'm probably butchering this guy's name. Halloween is my favorite day of the year. Therefore, an on location Hocus Pocus event has been on the top of my list for a long time, and I'm excited to make it reality this year. I frequently visit filming locations for fun, but recreating a scene at a location makes the experience even more unforgettable. The event is for guests 18 and up, and costumes are required. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $150 for early bird general admission and $215 for VIP admission. It includes a signed copy of the book Hocus Pocus in Focus by Aaron Wallace, another author meet and greet, photo opportunity, and art print. The I Put a Spell on You masquerade is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. So I got it right here. I got the website up. If you go to Eventbrite and look up "I Put a Spell on You" masquerade, you'll find the event page. Um, Let me try to fix this. So doors open at 6:30. The party ends at 10:30. Join the Witchy Sisters of Salem for a Halloween costume party like no other. The historic exterior of old, yeah, and it displays a lot of the same stuff that I've already said. This Halloween costume party includes live performance by Salem's favorite witches, DJ dance party, bars. Admission includes 2 drink tickets, so you get 2 drink tickets for you to go, and a souvenir gift bag including event poster, lanyard, and more. Early bird ticket buyers available for a limited time will also receive a discounted ticket price, a high quality Hocus Pocus concept art of the original I Put a Spell on You scene, illustrated and individually autographed by artist Giacomo Giazza. This artwork was originally created in 1992 during pre production of the film. Limited VIP tickets also include a copy of the book Hocus Pocus and Focus, signed by the author, a special experience with Hocus Pocus and Focus author Aaron Wallace. This will require an early entry before the party, a photo opportunity with our Witch Sister trio, a high quality Hocus Pocus concept art, which we just talked about. So that sounds like a hell of a lot of fun for a quite a bit of money. Um, So yeah, we're going. Yeah, that would be again something that would be awesome to go to. Salem, of course, once again on my bucket list of things to do at Halloween. If I ever find a Halloween that I don't do a haunted house. Um, Moving on again back to the West Coast. The Los Angeles Hayride in Los Angeles, California. Season passes are now on sale. Season pass perks include unlimited flex entry for pass holders, 31% off ticket upgrades and add on experiences, and 13% off companion tickets and gift shop purchases. Passes start at $79.99 for general admission season passes, $89.99 for VIP season passes, and $149.99 for platinum season passes. Unhinged. So yeah, if you're planning to go, basically you're planning to go to the Los Angeles Haunted Hayride a lot this year. Season passes are the way to go. What do they got going on? They have Hellbilly Halloween, all new for 2023. Venture deep into the backwoods of Midnight Falls, where a long rumored cannibalistic family has taken in the spirit of Halloween by dishing out diabolical tricks filled with horrifying treats. Of course, the Haunted Hayride. They have all new haunted hay wagons with seating. Um, there's Trick or Treat, local homes inside Midnight Falls, spring to life driven by the spirit of Halloween. But it is soon discovered the ghoulish residents have far more tricks on their mind than treats. The wondrous magic of a traditional neighborhood Halloween celebration is turned upside down as terrors stalks the streets in Trick or Treat. That would a haunted house based on trick or treating. Yes. Yes, why not? They also have Midnight Mortuary, Scorched Remains. I like the costuming too. I'm looking at these pictures. And then they also have the Haunted Hayride, like I said. Um, Worth the money. Worth the money. Another thing, again, I do need to get to California for Halloween one year because not Scary Farm, Universal Studios Hollywood for Halloween Horror Nights, Disneyland for the Mickey Halloween party. If you ever get tickets, if you can ever find tickets to that or ever get tickets, you've got the Queen Mary, you've got the Los Angeles Hayride. There's just so much to do, so much Halloween stuff going on in Los Angeles and Vegas. Vegas is another big place. Um, let's see. Moving on. The Winchester Mystery House is going to have a haunted house this year. I don't know if they do this every year or not, but Unhinged Hotel opens at the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Select nights between September 13th and November. I'm going to assume 2nd because I got cut off. Step into the darkened halls of the Winchester Mystery House and navigate a hauntingly immersive maze. Are you brave enough to uncover the dark secrets hidden within the walls of this unsettling hotel? I got the webpage up here. Um, there's an indoor maze, an outdoor maze, and then of course there's drinks and treats. Let's see. Admission. Ticket holders get to venture through the immersive indoor haunt that takes you on a single path, disorienting journey through all 3 floors of the mansion. You will also experience The Mist, our thrilling outside scare zone, limited time Halloween museum interactive activities, themed food and drinks, and themed photo opportunities. Ticket is valid for a select date and time only. This is a separately ticketed event from our daytime tours, and the prices will start at $70, right about $69.99. Um, for those who don't know, I don't know if you watch. We're going to do an episode on the Winchester Mystery House at some point because it is a legitimately haunted house. It is a haunted mansion in San Jose. Owned by the widow of of the guy who used to of the owner of the Winchester Rifle Company. Um, the rumor is she felt that the people that the victims of uh the victims of the rifles that her husband used to make and her husband invented and made used to haunt her, and so she built this mansion in San Jose. Um, with many different rooms, and it's basically the house itself is like a maze. Um, so she claimed that she would sleep in a different room in a different area of the house every night, so that quote the spirits of the dead could not find her. Um, so yeah, cool place to visit, honestly. Did I even? I don't think I added this in. Let me see if I can add this in real quick. Because there's a picture that goes along with this next story, and I'm hoping I can find it. I might not be able to. Can I add it? I think I can. We'll see here in a second. But Starbucks' 2024 fall menu is set to launch on August 22nd. Get ready for all the pumpkin spice and apple crisp flavors you crave. New additions to this year's offerings include iced apple crisp cream chai, non dairy, raccoon cake pops, and starting October 1st, iced pecan crunch latte oat milk, salted pecan cream cold foam, and mummy cookies. So yeah, there you go. There's their new list. There's their new stuff. I'm not a Starbucks person, so I don't see me ordering any of this. The wife likes the pumpkin spice, the iced coffees and that. That pumpkin cream cheese muffin sounds good though, in all honesty. But other than that, no, I'm not gonna be purchasing. Um, the wife might try some of this stuff, but I don't like coffee. Like I might be weird because I don't care for coffee that much. Um, but yeah, there you go. There's the new um Starbucks menu for this year. I told you there's a lot of haunt news. We're 34 minutes in and we're still doing haunt news. Uh, so on, so basically moving on, we're going back to Orlando. On Halloween, downtown Orlando is transformed into a major community festival. The streets are flooded with costume partiers ready to show off their outfits and filling the nightclubs and bars along Orange Avenue. We have the same thing here. It's down at the Oregon District. It's a big party they have the weekend before Halloween, where basically If you want to see half naked women, that's where you go. Let's put it that way. Um, Out and about, and it's actually still fun. There's a lot of stuff they got going on. It's a party in the Oregon district, which is our bar district. It's actually in here in Dayton. It's where a couple of years ago there was a shooting down there, but it's actually built itself back up and not and off of that reputation. Thankfully. But yeah, it's the biggest party for adults of the year almost. But this year, one of these bars in Orlando might play host to an immersive haunted house experience Orlando hasn't seen before. The location is the Corner, a bar, comedy club, and dance club that's part of the block. Managing partner John Filippo told Orlando Business Journal 302 interactive team members, "We're at the bar July 17th to digitally map the space as part of the process." I don't, or I'm sorry, told Orlando, there's no punctuation in this article. I'm sorry. Told Orlando Business Journal 302 that interactive team members were at the bar July 17th to digitally map the space as part of the process for developing the event. The scenario he described takes advantage of his connected venues. The front section of the Corner would be a staging area, and people would put on Oculus goggles, he said. They would split up into teams of 10 to 20 people to play in the main room, and when they're done, they can hang out at 64 North. If they want to play again, they can come back through. Details of gameplay were not disclosed, and ticket prices have not been decided yet. CEO Kyle Morand of 302 Interactive said his team is using Draw and Code, an event platform that functions like a multiplayer game, but in a mixed reality environment. There's a lot to figure out, and we're still in early exploration," said Morand. "We're kicking around the theme ideas like haunted silent disco. If we can't be ready for this year, we can try for later." Moran said his company will be courting cultural institutions in the area with ideas for immersive social experiences. "We can put together a mixed reality concert or live theater kind of experience," he said. "Also, no, just go to the fucking theater or the fucking concert. Jesus." Sorry, guys, that annoys me a little bit. He said, also noting that the Orlando Museum of Art and Orlando Science Center would benefit from programming built on Draw and Code. Even without an augmented reality component, Halloween is big business downtown. Filippo, again, I'm probably butchering this guy's name, said he hosts three $5,000 costume contests in his venues and goes the extra mile with decorating. His staff has photographed the streets in front of his cluster of bars and clubs for 25 years, capturing the masses in their Halloween best. The block also partners with the Orlando Pub Crawl the weekend before Halloween, bringing out a broader span of ages than downtown usually gets. "There's over 100,000 people walking around," said Filippo. "There are 15,000 on a typical Wednesday night. It's the most you see people all interact with each other. It's something different," said managing partner James DeRozier, also with the block. "It's definitely festive." So yeah, that's something to keep an eye. I'm going to keep an eye on that story because that seems like really cool. If they're able to do it, uh, we'll skip that story. Basically, I'm skipping a stone. They're gonna put on, but we're running a little behind, so I'm late as hell too. It's my fault, but moving this on. Let's move on to the horror movie news. It was basically a story of they're good. There, I guess there's a new ship coming, opening with Disney Cruise Lines, and they're putting a haunted mansion bar in it. This won't be their first one though. So, um, so moving on to horror movie news. Really not horror movie. It might be stupid news if you want to think about it, but so the Conjuring house owner, I guess the real house, the Conjuring house owner they fired an employee citing accusation from beyond. We're going all the way to Burrillville, Rhode Island, from WPRI, which I'm assuming is one of their news stations. Brian Dansereau says he was fired from the house featured in the film The Conjuring, after his boss said she was told by its 19th century owner, Dancero, had been stealing money. The Burrillville farmhouse, also known as the Old Arnold Estate, has been an international draw for paranormal enthusiasts ever since it was made famous by the 2013 supernatural horror movie The Conjuring. Dancero, I'm probably butchering the name again, said he worked at the home, which is open to visitors until current owner Jacqueline Nunez fired him abruptly last month. Dancero said she told him the spirit of John Arnold, who owned the home with his wife Abigail in the 1800s, said Dancero stole about $3,000. Dancero denied the theft. She said, John Arnold told me you've been stealing money out of the cash box for the past 2 months. Dancero said in an exclusive interview with Target 12, showing text messages of the conversation, I literally stopped and had to correct her, like John Arnold, one of the original owners. Nunez, a self-described medium and channel, confirmed she fired Dancero and that the spirits of the most famous haunted and active locations in the world told her he'd been stealing. Nunez also said she'd been informed of other matters that are up untoward from previous staff and even mischievous ghosts. It does not matter whether you believe in the paranormal or not, Nunez said in a statement. I and every person is entitled to experiences that bring understanding and meaning to our lives, including being informed or warned about wicked actors and actions. As far as Brian my experience with him devolved quickly, culminating in his at-will employment termination. That right there, that says everything. Oh, I'm gonna finish reading the article. I got a little bit to say on this. The Conjuring film was created after Andrea Perron wrote The House of Darkness, House of Light, The True Story, Volume 1. The book is all about the paranormal activity she experienced living in the Arnold estate, which her family owned in the 1970s. Perron said that the family was haunted by Bathsheba, a spirit that was unleashed during a seance gone horribly wrong. But Perron said the paranormal activity happened all the time. It started the first day we moved into the house, Perron said during a 2013 interview with 12 News. We saw a man standing in the dining room who seemed fixated on dear old Mr. Kenyon, who sold the property to my parents. I walked past him and said good morning, and he didn't respond. Dan Saru, who worked as a paramedic before getting hired on at the house, recalled his own paranormal experiences, such as hearing voices, footsteps, and even his own voice talking back to him in the basement. One of the weirdest things was being in the basement by myself in the storeroom and literally having me call me from on the other side of the basement, he said. In another experience, Dan Saru said a closed door opened up for him as he walked toward it with an armful of boxes. That's a helpful ghost. Dancero said that the experience still makes him smile and that he was sure to say thank you. But Dancero said he has serious doubts about John Arnold ever telling Nunez he was a thief. For a spirit to go after a staff member in that manner, I've never heard such a thing at any haunted venue, let alone the Conjuring House, he said. Dancero this week filed a complaint seeking unpaid wages with the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training, estimating Nunez owes him $9,000 for uncompensated work. The state agency confirmed it received the complaint. Nunez said her books back up the allegation of theft, showing discrepancies between merchandise orders and cash sales. Nunez also denied owing Dancero any money, saying he's been made whole when counting the stolen money as part of his compensation. Well, even if he did steal them, you owe him $9,000. Even if he did steal that, you still owe him six. So that's not really true. Nunez said she's now planning to file a complaint with state officials and Burrillville because Dancero committed further egregious acts by appearing in YouTube videos slandering her personally and trying to damage her reputation and business at the Conjuring House. This is all I will say on this matter, she added. Dancero described the entire experience as horrible, saying the stress of it all is causing him anxiety and keeping him up at night. This is going to be my sunset job, he said. In all my career, I've never been accused of stealing. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think the guy was stealing. I don't think John Arnold came and told this lady that he was stealing. I think she wanted a reason to fire him, and that's the reason she gave. Um, because that's something can't prove it happened, can't prove it didn't happen. How are you going to do that? How can you prove that it happened or didn't happen? Um, and the thing about it is too is Rhode Island, and this is what gave it away is when she said about she mentioned the at will work state. Um, yes, Rhode Island is an at will work state. What that means, a lot of people already know this meaning, but what it means is you can be fired for anything. They don't have to give you a reason. The only thing you cannot be fired for is because of your race, religion, sexuality, anything like that. But then you have to prove that's why they fired you for that, and that's very, very, very hard to prove. So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on that story because I think it's interesting. I think it's funny because let's face it, guys. She didn't talk to John Arnold. She just wanted a reason. She didn't like the guy, and she wanted a reason to get rid of him. When in reality, you don't even need a reason. Alrighty. Moving on. A birth date significant in the world of long legs. Neon invites all those born on the 14th of any month. That would be myself. I was born on the 14th. To redeem free tickets to see Osgood Perkins' terrifying horror sensation Long Legs using a special limited time supply promo code exclusively with Atom tickets. Um, from August 1st to August 4th, fans born on the 14th of any month can head to Atom and follow the instructions for their promo code to secure one free ticket per customer while the supplies last. This exclusive offer is available for any showtime of Long Legs during these dates. And like I said, I was born on the 14th. So I will be there. You too, Jen? There's a you too, Jen? Well, I mean, go to Atom Tickets and you can get a free ticket to go see Longlegs. Um, I think it's Atom Ticket. Yeah, yeah. You go to Atom Tickets, I think, or I don't think because they didn't have the article didn't have the website. Come to think of it, um, but you got to look up Atom Tickets. You should be able to get a free ticket to go see Longlegs. Longlegs, which has been called one of the scariest films of the year, is written and directed by Perkins, the Black Coat's daughter, and the monkey, and stars Micah Monroe. It follows and they follow. Blair Underwood, everybody knows who Blair Underwood is. Alicia Vitt, I'm sorry, and Nicolas Cage. Longlegs has earned over $70 million worldwide since its historic opening on July 12th and has surpassed Parasite to become Neon's highest grossing film of all time. Longlegs is the top grossing R rated horror film of 2024. This article, I got a problem with this. Hold on one second. And in its third week of release, has become the highest grossing indie horror film of the last 10 years at the United States box office. Okay, this article was written yesterday. I don't know if the author realizes that Deadpool and Wolverine is an R-rated movie as well, and I'm pretty sure they made $70 million like on the preview night. Well, they made 29 million on the preview night, but they were at $70 million like probably 3 hours into Thursday last week or Friday last week. It like Deadpool and Wolverine made like ridiculous money last week. So I don't know how accurate that is that it's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, or it's just someone's opinion. But moving on, something I'm a little bit excited for. Horror host Joe Bob Briggs is back in action. Shudder has announced an all new special, The Last Drive-In Night Marathon, celebrating the conclusion of the Last Drive-In supersized sixth season, um, which debuted earlier this year. And it's a different season this year. Usually on Joe Bob and the Last Drive-In, they show 2 movies a week, and it's usually 5 or 6 weeks, I think, usually. Um, this year they're only doing 1 movie per week now. Um, so giving you basically more time, which is it's good. And a lot of people complain about it, but I think it's good because I'm getting older. I'm getting up there in age, and I can't stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching movies anymore. Especially when I was going to work at like 5 a.m. There was no possible way. Um, but the special premieres Friday, August 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Shutter TV and AMC Plus TV feeds, and will be available on demand on both platforms the following Sunday, September 1st. Host Joe Bob Briggs and trusty right hand Darcy the Mail Girl will bring a few surprise guests to stay up all night to party like jungle animals for the last drive-in night marathon, a dusk to dawn marathon event celebrating 6 years and 6 seasons with 6 killer movies, just like the devil intended. As usual, don't expect to know what the marathon's lineup entails. That's one of the fun parts. That is one of the funnest parts of watching Joe Bob is him giving you hints during the week. You get trying to guess the movie, and then seeing how wrong you were comes Friday evening. But you can follow the horror host on social for hints leading up to the event on August 30th. On the last drive-in, Briggs, the world's foremost drive-in movie critic, hosts eclectic horror movies talking about their merits, histories, and significance to genre cinema. Fans can watch new episodes of season 6 every other Friday night on Shudder and AMC Plus. The last drive-in night marathon will cap off season 6 in a way only the last drive-in crew knows how, with a special 6 movie marathon. The Mutant family will be happy to know that Briggs plans to continue hosting and writing about movies for as long as he's able to. Briggs recently told Bloody Disgusting in an interview, "I don't see retiring from this or retiring from writing. I'm primarily a writer, and the good thing about writing is long after they don't want to see you on TV anymore, you can still write." The difference today, though, is I was pretty much the only guy doing genre films when I started. Now there are academics that do it. There are entire books written about Dario Argento and Toby Hooper, and even lesser names than those. And there are, of course, a massive number of websites, including your own, so that when something comes out today, there's immediately 100 reviews of it. Whereas in 1982, I was sort of the only guy because I was sort of the only guy because the movies were considered disposable trash. So I have been surpassed in my deep knowledge because who can keep up with all that? It's impossible. That's right. And that's exactly what he's saying is he's going to keep writing until he can't do it no more and once people don't want to see him on TV anymore, which that's not going to happen you know, it's Joe Bob. Who doesn't want to watch Joe Bob? I love Joe Bob. Um he said and he's up there in age. He is up there in age. Once he can't basically do TV no more, he'll go to and he'll keep writing until the day he dies. The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs is produced by Matt. I'm going to butcher this name. Man Joyrides and Justin Martell, and directed by Austin Jennings. I love Joe Bob. For the longest time there, it was like the highlight of my week, or every other week, because he's always on every other week. It was a highlight of my week. We'd get some pizza, get some of that old food you used to get in the '90s, get some alcohol, or get some drinks going, and sit down in front of the television and just watch Joe Bob do his thing all night long. That was a great Friday. That almost brought you back to the old '90s Friday nights of going to Blockbuster, renting a couple of movies, renting a video game to play, getting a 2 liter of soda, getting your mom or your parents to order some pizza, going up to your bedroom and just vegging out all night long. Even as an adult, that's one of my favorite things to do. We'll get on certain nights, we'll get food, we'll go back, we'll watch a bad horror movie, and we'll just veg out for the night. It's awesome, it's great, and that's what Joe Bob brings. Joe Bob encourages that kind of thing. And now we're adults and we can do what we want. Um, so moving on to the next story. 5 years after the third season arrived on Netflix, the team behind The Toys That Made Us has announced that fourth and fifth seasons of the nostalgia series are coming soon. I know this isn't horror movie news, but it's about toys. I love toys. We're going to do it. Season 4 and 5 episodes were revealed during Comic Con on Saturday, and they include Ghostbusters, Hot Wheels, fast food toys, Pokemon, Polly Pocket, superhero toys, Nerf, American Greetings, uh, and American Greetings. In the toys that made us, the minds behind history's most excuse me. I am so sorry. Is that just something stuck in my throat or something? But in the toys that made us, the minds behind history's most iconic toy franchises discuss their billion-dollar creations. You can stream all three available seasons on Netflix. Topics covered in the first three seasons include Barbie, Star Wars. I had a bunch of Star Wars toys growing up. He-Man. I had the entire collection of He-Man. That's a story for later. But my mom gave it away, and to the day she died last year, I reminded her on a weekly or monthly basis. I would bring eBay up and go, "Hey, mom, look how much Castle Grayskull's going for." GI Joe, another thing I grew up with and played. Star Trek, Transformers, Lego, Hello Kitty, Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, My Little Pony, and of course, pro wrestling, which I do still have some of my pro wrestling figures. I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and I have what explains this show this week. And I do have my pro wrestling toys. But the episode list for the next seasons, episode 1, superhero toys. Episode 2 is going to be Nerf. Episode 3 is Pokemon. Episode 4 is American Greetings, which made your Mad Balls, your My Pet Monster, Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake. Um, Episode 5 will focus on Hot Wheels, another huge thing I had as a kid. I used to love playing with my cars as a kid. Ghostbusters, Polly Pocket, and then fast food toys. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be really cool. Let me see what I got left. All right, we'll do one more story, then we'll go ahead and take our break and get into the movie. Let me see if I got the right. Yeah, this is the right story. You guys, some might get mad about this, some might not. But how about Jenny JWoww Farley? Yes, that JWoww from Jersey Shore has had her directorial debut, Devon, picked up by Cineverse for an exclusive premiere on Screenbox on November 11th. According to Variety, the found footage mystery follows a group of friends that tries to learn the truth about an unsolved disappearance, but end up at the center of a terrifying mystery. A more detailed synopsis reads: following their daughter's mysterious disappearance, Devon's parents never stopped searching for the truth. After the asylum she disappeared from was condemned, their questions looked like they would remain forever unanswered. Years later, a cryptic website recruits 5 courageous individuals to explore the abandoned asylum and discover what happened to the little girl. Unaware that they are embarking on a perilous one way journey, these individuals delve into the sinister depths with only their equipment, leading to a terrifying and deadly experience. Variety reminds that JWoww is best known for her appearance on MTV's Jersey Shore and its spin-off Jersey Shore Family Vacation. Cast details for Devon are still under wraps, but fingers crossed Farley's Jersey Shore co-stars make an appearance. Who doesn't want to see Snooki as a final girl? I don't want to see Snooki as a final girl. In a statement, Farley expressed her excitement to be joining the Screenbox family. I'm thrilled to be diving into the horror space alongside Cineverse and Screenbox, who have the industry and fandom knowledge to see that Devin lands in the hands of the right audience. As a longtime reality TV veteran, I'm excited to kick off this new chapter in the horror movie genre and hope that Devin is just the beginning. New chapter in the horror. She does know they've made first person or found footage horror before, right? Like one of the biggest stories of the year is the people from or the guys and girl from Blair Witch Project um coming out and basically reminding people, hey, we didn't get paid. Um but yeah, of course, JWoww isn't the first reality star to make the jump into horror. The Simple Life star Paris Hilton got to meet a grisly death in 2005's House of Wax. And keeping up with the Kardashians, Kim Kardashian starred in the latest season of American Horror Story Delicate. Devin hits Screenbox on November 11th. We'll bring, and yeah, bring in the news that goes in. Let me see if there's any other story that's basically. Here, we'll do this last. We'll do this one last story. That's right. This one will be a fun one. Especially if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, because a horror icon is joining the Mortal Kombat universe. As announced during a panel for Mortal Kombat 1 at San Diego Comic-Con last week, a new combat pack titled Chaos Reigns was revealed. As part of that, none other than Ghostface himself from the Scream franchise. Yes, those who decide to purchase this DLC in the not too distant future will be able to beat down the likes of Liu Kang and Sub-Zero as Ghostface. Video games are truly a beautiful thing, aren't they? A trailer for Chaos Reigns has also been released online, which you can check out above. It largely, well, yeah, I don't, sorry, I copied this article. Yeah. It largely focuses on the new story chapters being added as part of the DLC for Mortal Kombat 1, which first launched late last year. Lots of cinematic footage mixed with bloody gameplay action in the mix. At the end of the trailer, we get our first taste of Ghostface delivering his classic line, "Do you like scary movies?" We then get a little glimpse at the character design for the game, even though we don't get to see him actually kicking ass just yet. Additionally, Ghostface will have some company in the form of Conan the Barbarian, looking very much like young Arnold Schwarzenegger, as well as Robert Patrick's T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That'll be fucking awesome. Classic Mortal Kombat characters Sector, Cyrex, and Noob Saibot will be included in Mortal Kombat 1, or will be included. In Mortal Kombat 1, it's in our blood. Discover a reborn Mortal Kombat universe created by the fire god Liu Kang. Mortal Kombat 1 ushers in a new era of the iconic franchise with a new game fighting system, game modes, and fatalities. The game largely served as a reset for the continuity of the games after Mortal Kombat 11. So far, it's been well received by the fan base. As for Ghostface, horror icons joining the game is nothing new. Over the years, characters such as Jason Voorhees and Spawn have been thrown into the mix, but seeing Ghostface throwdown will undoubtedly be a fun treat for longtime fans. Meanwhile, both of these respective franchises are thriving at the moment. Aside from the game, Mortal Kombat 2 is currently in the works, with the film due to hit theaters next October. That'll be great because that first one was actually really freaking good. Also on the horizon is Scream 7, which will bring back Nev Campbell as Sidney Prescott, as well as Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers. That was in the news today, too, is that apparently Scream 7 is going to be focused a lot more on Sidney Prescott's character than anything else. But Mortal Kombat is available now on console and PC. Chaos Reigns drops on September 24th. For more, check out the list of scary movies to watch. All right. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. That is going to be pretty freaking sweet. I would love to do that. But, guys, we've been going for an hour now talking about the news, and I knew the news was going to go long because of how much haunted house news there is this week. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. And when we come back, we are going to dive into El Santo, Fist of Death. See you in a minute.
Shabazz and Shabebans. We are the Retro Reductibus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Technical Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Octopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
And we're back. I hope everybody enjoyed their quick 3-minute break there. We're here this week again. We are celebrating. We are on the eve of WWE Summerslam. For those who are not wrestling fans, SummerSlam is like the WWE considers SummerSlam the second biggest show, but I don't agree with that. I think the Royal Rumble in January is bigger than SummerSlam. But this is one of their big arena shows that they do every year. It usually is later in August. But the past couple of years they've been putting it at the beginning of August for reasons. Um, but yeah, it's usually like the end of summer is what it usually like came to. It was like almost like basically the week before Labor Day and that, or yeah, growing up. But so I decided, since it is the second biggest show of the year for wrestling, why the hell not do do a wrestling horror movie, which ended up being a wrestling, more of a wrestling action movie. Um, and I decided, I could have done a lot of movies. I could have picked one of Hulk Hogan's movies, Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando, Santa with Muscles, or one of my favorites, No Holds Barred. But people have done those. We already did Body Slam back in our very first episode on WrestleMania weekend. We did Body Slam with Roddy Piper and the Wild Samoans, which rest in peace Sika from that one of the bodyguards, one of Mr. Kim's bodyguards from the movie passed away recently, about a month or so ago. Sika was actually Roman Reigns' father. But he passed away, so rest in peace, Sika. Um, but I could have done, any Roddy Piper's movies, like They Live or Hell Comes to Frogtown. But again, people have done those. Um, a lot of people have done those, and I want to be able to put my own twist on something. Uh, I could have done, there's a lot of horror movies out there with wrestlers in it. I couldn't find. I was gonna do WrestleManiac with Rey Mysterio Sr. in it, Rey Mysterio Jr.'s uncle, but couldn't find it. I could have did Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies again. Fun movie. I love that movie. But people have done it. So I went a little deeper, and I used to watch a lot of these movies growing up. And the thing about it is, especially when I used to work at for a couple of summers, I worked at a haunted house in Virginia Beach called the Nightmare Mansion. We were a year-long haunted house right on the beach, and I would sit up in the actors' room and wait for people to come in. And needless to say, if you're at the beach during the day, the last thing you want to do is go inside a haunted house. Um, So during the day, we were steady, but we were never really like flat out busy. So during the day, me and whoever was there, upstairs with me, or if I was most of the time I was by myself, we would just watch horror movies all day long. I would rent them or bring my own from home, and we would just sit upstairs and watch horror movies all day long, waiting to scare people. And needless to say, it was a great experience. It's one of my favorite experiences, ever, watching horror movies while scaring people. It was awesome. And I watched a few El Santo movies. I had an El Santo box set. Um, but so I decided I was going to just randomly pick off a Tubi one of El Santo's movies. And so I chose this one, this is El Santo's second to last movie. Um, as he did, this movie came out in 1982, and he did pass away in 1984. So he would only go on to make one more movie after this one, and then he would unfortunately pass away. But El Santo's real name was Randolfo Guzman Huerta, best known by his ring name El Santo, which in English is the Saint. Um, he was a Mexican luchador, uh, actor, and folk hero. One of the most famous and iconic Mexican luchadores, and has been referred to as one of the greatest legends in Mexican sports. Which, yeah, he really was. His wrestling career spanned nearly 5 decades, during which he became a folk hero and a symbol of justice for the common man through his appearances in luchador films and comic books, telling fictionalized stories of El Santo fighting for justice. He starred and co-starred in at least 54 movies between 1958 and 1982. So yeah, I'm not going to go through his whole biography or anything like that, but that gives you a little bit of a background on who the man is. Yeah, Sika passed middle July, I think. Um, yeah, he passed away. I can't remember what he died of, but I think it was like natural causes though. Um, but he was and he's Roman's father. Um, but like I was saying, that was a little bit of his background. He wrestled for a very long time. He was very well loved, very well and very well revered in the industry because of the movies. And that's the thing about lucha libre, and even in Japanese culture, their wrestlers are heroes. Where America, wrestling's nowhere near as popular in America as it is in like Japan, Mexico, England, and other places. As here, it's hard to describe the way the biggest differences between Japanese wrestling and American wrestling and Mexican lucha libre. No problem, no problem, Dell. Um, but it's there's huge differences. Like in Mexico, like they don't take their masks off ever. It seems like when you're in a when you if you're in a when they're in a match and it's the heel, the good guy versus the bad guy will try to take the good guy's mask off, and it'll literally get him booed out of the arena. Um, because the masks are seen as like their characters, their identities, and it's a huge sign of disrespect to try to take someone's mask off. Like one of the biggest in America, like some of the biggest blow off feuds and matches, they'll do what they call a gimmick match, like your cage match, like your Hell in a Cell match, or strap match, or something like that. Sorry, I'm sorry, sorry, Jen. Um, but they would, in Mexico versus Mexico, Mexico, one of the worst, one of the highest profile matches you could possibly do in a lucha libre match would be a mask versus mask match, which means the loser has to unmask. Um, and some of the world's most famous luchadors have unmasked, unfortunately. Um, Rey Mysterio did it in WCW. One Rey Mysterio, who's right now probably the most famous luchador out there right now. wrestled a match against 7 foot tall Kevin Nash. Rey Mysterio is only like 5'6", 5'7" at the most. Um, and they had a match where it was hair versus Kevin Nash's hair, which he had long hair at the time, versus Rey Mysterio's mask. Where if Rey Mysterio lost, he was going to lose his mask, and if Kevin Nash lost, he lost his hair. Rey Mysterio lost, he had to unmask. Um, but since he has put the mask back on in Mexico, you would not put the mask back on. That would be it. There would be no more mask. And even to the point where, like in Japan, it's a lot of the same culture in Japan where they have tiger masks. There have been numerous tiger masks out there, to the point where, like, once, like, that was, I think, Blue Demon. I think at some point his son, Blue Demon was a partner of El Santo and was in a lot of movies. They were in a lot of movies together, but Blue Demon's son eventually took over. But I digress. I've been speaking on this way too long. So the movie is, like I said, 1982. It's not really a horror movie, which is fine. It still fits into the threshold of what I want to do here with the Bloody Binge. As it is Santo would be considered a cult actor, a cult classic. One of his more famous movies, of course, is Santo versus Frankenstein's daughter. Santo in the Wax Museum. Um, but this movie was put out in 1982. Director was Alfredo B. Cravena. It was written by Alfredo Cravena, Ramon Obon, and Sergio Alvarez. Basically, in the far east of the star great power is stolen by an ambitious woman who was jealous of the jungle girl who was sent by the gods. Also succeeds in. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that because it kind of gives away the movie. But there's not a lot of people in here that anybody's really gonna know. And the thing about it is, if you decide to watch this, if you decide to watch it on God, what do you got? Tubi. Um, you're going to get the English version. The thing about it is none of Santos' movies was ever released in America, or like were ever released with English, basically with English subtitles or anything. Like when I was watching them in the haunted house in that box set that um, I had to watch it in Spanish. I know very little Spanish. Um, and you just had to figure out what was going on by what was happening, but they were still like such fun movies. So if you go to Tubi and you watch this movie, you're going to get a dubbed version. Like halfway through this movie, I realized they don't even have the original soundtrack playing in the movie. There's a scene where there's a waterfall, and it literally is the waterfall. It's a big waterfall, but the sound that the waterfall's making is like if somebody has a glass of water pouring it into a sink or like a bowl of some sort with water already in it. Like, um, and it kind of gave it away. But let me bring the movie back up here. Um, the movie stars Steve Chang as Princess Chinka or Prince Chinka. Um, he's only ever done two things as Prince Chinka, the Fist of Death and the Fury of Karate Experts. So it might be a sequel. Sandra Duarte as Nina de la Selva. I don't really know who that is. Frankie, you have Ishmael Ramirez. There's really no characters here for them. Santo as an El Hombre Sin Rosa. He basically plays Santo. Okay. Um, you have Grace Rennet, who plays both Kunyan and Kiria, the twin sisters. You have Cesar Sobrevels as Raguri, Carlos Suarez as Cliff, uh, Tinieblas, who is playing Tinieblas. Again, I'm probably butchering a lot of these names. But let's go ahead and get started in the movie. El Santo and the Fist of Death. So the movie opens up and is basically a group of women they're all wearing white gowns, and in the center there's a guy in red, like kind of like bowing down and worshiping an altar that has this glowing rock all on it. There's fire all around, all that good stuff. It's your typical island sacrifice style scene, really. Um, then you hear a female voice come over, and it tells us that the magical alignment of the astral equinox is about to occur, and the infinite energies of the cosmos will descend upon us. We trust the endless grace of the star will bring health back to our poor, sick, and ailing people. Um, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot of boob jokes in this because holy crap, the the woman who plays both Kun Yang and Kiera, or Kiria, I think it's Kiria, I think is what they said her name was. I'm sorry. Um, are both well. She's a well endowed woman, and there is so much cleavage, and the camera makes sure to focus directly on the cleavage in this movie. So I am not going to lie. I do make a lot of cleavage and boob jokes because it's fucking hilarious how often they do close-ups on breasts. So I fair warning on that one. Um, but a woman in a white feathery dress and feathery headwear welcomes another woman in a black dress and a tiara as her sister. This is Kunyang and Kiria. Um, I'm going to keep calling them probably feathery dress and black outfit until we get to the point in the movie where they tell us their names, because holy crap, we go so far into this movie. And that's one of my, if you listen to the show weekly, that's one of my biggest things. Let us know these people's names. Don't wait an hour or two, like an hour or so into the movie to tell us, hey, this guy's name is Greg. Just tell us at the beginning of the dang movie. Um, but um, the guy in red steps forward and he says, "May the magic of the great power always be by your side." And I actually did write down, well, did he just say, "May the force be with you"? That's really what it sounded like he just said. These two shirtless men carry another man into the shot, almost like on a stretcher. He appears to be sick and can't walk. Basically, he's a young boy and he can't walk. White Feathers says a prayer over a glowing stone, asking the star of power to allow this, young one to walk again. We cut to the sister in black looking on, and into a very wrestling-looking character in a leotard with a cape and one of the most luchador-looking masks I have ever seen. It is clear this guy is a wrestler. We cut to the group of women in white again, and one is like kind of giving an eye to the luchador guy, and he nods at her. Then we go back. The white feathery sister continues her ritual or prayer to help make this boy feel better. I don't know why and it's one of the things where it's like she's going to the star or the rock, whatever you want to call it, picking up, like she's grabbing water and like dumping invisible water on the man. And I wrote, and I'm not gonna lie, I did write the joke. I was like, I don't understand why she just doesn't smack him in the head and go, healed, like in God's name, you are healed, like those TV priests do. Like I know, I'll show myself out. Don't worry. Meanwhile, the young boy is staring at the black outfit sister, like he's just staring daggers into her. And I can't blame him, as because again, we realize she's wearing a bikini top and cleavage is out. Feathery sister tells the boy the energy of the cosmos is now with you. The guy in red tells him to rise up and that the energy is now with him. The boy does a really good job of acting because he stands up and it's like he's learning how to walk again, so he's still stumbling a little bit and he's can barely get up. People are holding up. Two of the shirtless guys are holding him up, and he slowly walks off. He looks happy, smiles. He's able to walk again and walks off. Nobody looks impressed though. Like everybody's looking at us like and if this was actually really happening in front of you, you'd think somebody would be like, "Oh my god, that guy can walk again! Holy crap!" Nah, they're like, "Yeah, we knew this was gonna happen. Yeah, yeah, all right, fuck off. You're walking again. Great, fuck off." Um, and a matter of fact, that the sister in the black outfit looks pissed. Now they bring another person forward, and it's a blind man. Feathery sister says that the radiant tranquility of the star will bring light to his eyes again. Hey, she touches the star and slash glowing rock again, and again acts like she's lifting water and like she's washing his eyes out with it. Um, and I just realized this chick has some really long nails. Like she's gonna poke his eye out with them nails. The boy looks at her as he can, the boy. It's obvious the boy can see because he looks at her as he can see again. Another shirtless man walks over and helps the boy walk away. He's excited, ecstatic he can see. The sister in black literally takes 3 steps to the right, and we realize, and this is again the point where we realize, as I knew she was only wearing a bikini top. She walks over and it's like, no, she's got like just a bikini or bra and panties on, whatever you want to say. She is damn near naked. Uh, but she stands forth and grins, and then we get shots back and forth between the sisters. And at this point, it's like really hard to tell if they like each other or not. The sister in all black all of a sudden turns into like one hell of an ugly dude. I'm talking like it almost looked like leeches were on him, but it was like I think it was supposed to be hair, and it's a fat old dude. I know he's supposed to be a monster. Then she disappears and he reappears. Like every time there's like this thunder and a flame goes in front of the camera, and she turns into something else. First she turns into a cobra, which I think later on I figure out is a viper, and then a tiger. Um, and it's very bad cinematography because it's like haha, poof, and then it goes to like almost like stock footage of a snake. It looks like I said, it looks like a cobra. It's got the wings on its like head like a cobra, but apparently it's a viper. Then poof again, she turns back to herself. Poof again, she turns into the tiger, comes back. It's not good cinematography, but again, it's 1982, and they're using obvious stock footage as it's night. It's nighttime in the lair, but it's like daytime when they go to the cobra and the tiger. Um, Feathery dress sister looks mad now as black outfit sister does her tricks. Feathery sister tells her what she has done is the biggest possible blasphemy. When using the star of great power, you won't be able to enter my kingdom again. Because this temple is in it profaner. Rid this place of your thirst for evil. Black outfit sister's pissed now and tells her sister the kingdom is not only hers as her sister, and as her sister, it belongs to both of them. She says the magic of the star of great power will be hers. Black outfit sister tells feathery dress sister that she will destroy her, each and every one of them. Feathery sister looks hurt as the bad group walks away, leaving the star, or as the good people walk away first, leaving the star on the table behind. Nobody watching it, nobody protecting it. They just walk away. And black outfit sister could have just been like, "Oh, really? You're just gonna walk? Okay, yoink." But she and her group, they also try to leave. Like, what the fuck? One of the females in white meets up with the luchador with the luchador bodyguard. Um, he tells her that while he attacks the palace, she will take away the star of great power. She asks, "But how?" And she tells him if those are your orders. Like again, I'm pretty sure there's more to this scene, but um, this and I'm pretty sure this is like a cleaned up version of the movie too. It doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. Back at the altar, two of the shirtless men who weren't there a minute ago, by the way, they weren't there when Feathery Sister walked away, leaving the star unguarded, are now standing guard over the star. When Luchador bodyguard, um, when the Luchador bodyguard basically comes out and just starts attacking them, and pretty much just beats their asses, like just beats the tar out of these guys. The white gown lady seems like she's fighting her own personal battle as she steals the star and runs off with she's like, do I do it? Do I not? Whatever. Meanwhile, Luchador guy is still beating the brakes off of both of these guards. I'm talking just smacking the shit out of them. He walks over, meets with White Gown again, and tells her that she has fulfilled her mission. He takes the star and says, Kyria, the Black Alpha sister, which, I mean, we got to learn her name pretty quickly, will be pleased. Then dude just walks away, and she's like, I'm going to go after him. And she scurries right after him. So now we cut to basically a stone palace where inside White Feathery Sister is in her bikini now, is standing as the guy in red paces the study. Feathery Sister says that her sister has let evil take hold of her. They need help. Red outfit guy says they must talk to the Oracle. Now we cut outside to a rose garden where a yellow wreath is surrounding. It's a golden. Oh, I said a golden lucha mask, but it's like a golden Aztec skull. The Oracle breaks the news to them right away that the star has been stolen. By her sister. Feathery Sister is fucking shocked at this news, even though Kyria just fucking told you what she was going to do. She literally just told you she's going to steal. That she was going to steal the star. And the Oracle goes, "Your sister has stolen the star of power." And Feather Sister's like, "No, I fucking shot. Really?" Feathery Sister asks who can help them. Then there's a very long pause as nothing is said. Nothing is said. I don't know. I guess they're supposed to be getting their shit telepathically or something. No words were spoken. But the guy in red bows and says, "Thank you, Oracle." And Feathery Sister begs the Oracle to send that man soon to them. What the hell? Nothing was said. Again, I'm assuming because this is like a, what do you call it? What do you call it? Not really enhanced, but almost like a cleaned up version, restored version of the movie and in English. And I think they're leaving parts out. I'm pretty sure they're leaving parts out. But we now cut to our hero El Santo in a 6-man tag, or what they would in Mexico they call it a trios match. These are and they're very popular in lucha. As the rules are it's the same rules as America with tags, except in a lucha libre mat, 6-man trios tag or a trios tag match. You wouldn't tag. You don't have to tag to get in. So if your partner gets thrown over the top rope, you can jump in. And Santo is standing on the apron as the crowd cheers for him. As the 2 other guys are wrestling in the ring. He keeps looking around, and they're cheering Santo, Santo. Santo enters the ring, but the referee pushes him back because he hasn't been tagged in yet. They cut away into the crowd and then back to the ring, and now Santo is being double teamed. We get some cheesy fighting noises as Santo is being now triple teamed in the match. And basically, the opponents slam him on his back and they start stretching his legs out, and the other one essentially kicks him in the groin. The 2 of them try to pin him, but Santo kicks out. The man in red shorts, literally what the captions called him. It says the captions called him the man in red shorts. They're all 3 in red shorts. That's yeah. He's crying, saying he's like, he hurt me, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Because the dubbing in this movie is really bad, but it's people doing funny with different voices and stuff, and it's actually pretty funny. Red shorts guy runs at Santo, who is laying on the ground. Santo basically just uses his legs and fucking flips him over him. Santo gets up and takes him down with multiple flying leg scissors. Then they wrestle around for a bit before Santo throws the man out of the ring. Now Santo is basically kneeing the guy in the gut. He keeps cutting away to the crowd and it comes back and Santo's beating the shit out of this guy again. Santo is like kneeing the guy in the gut, hits a back body drop 3 times in a row. Santo puts the man in a camel clutch, but his tag team partner breaks it up. Now Santo just repeatedly punches the guy before we cut away to the crowd again. His tag team partner gets in and he gets double teamed by Santo and his partner. And eventually Santo pins one of the opponents and, his tag team wins. The crowd cheers as Santo and his partners, their arms are raised in victory. And we cut now to the locker room. Where Santo was walking out of the shower, still in his gear, and tells there's a bald guy there named Cliff. He tells Cliff that they need to leave here early tomorrow as they have a really important mission now. Cliff asks where they're going, and Santo tells him don't even ask. And Cliff's like, mother, not this shit again. Why me? Now the voice that the voiceover actor is using for Cliff does not fit this dude at all. Let's put it this way, if you've ever seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist, which is coming to the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast, at some point we will be doing Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Think of the voice they used for the bad guy. Sally, as if I remember, I think his name was Sally. Think of the voice they used for the bad guy, Sally, and that's essentially the voice they're using for Cliff. Cliff's a pretty big dude, pretty big bald guy. Voice doesn't fit him, basically. But we now cut to a group of people in karate gis walking up. I call them karate gis, but they're just gis, really. Walking up to the house where Feathery's sister lives. And good Lord, again, I mentioned again, the cleavage in the movie is epic at this point. Because, they're barely being contained. Red Guy welcomes Prince Chinka to the palace, which is their home, and it is their home and his while he stays there. Chinka says, "Great Raguri." This is the red guy's name. His name is Raguri. Chinka offers you his hand and his heart. Feathery sister says it will be their pleasure to host him. Raguri tells a guard to fetch the jungle girl and tell her they wish her to come here and be in their presence. Raguri tells Chinka that they are sad to report that there is a very serious problem. We get a close-up of the conversation, and here's what I'm talking about from earlier. So you have Raguri on the right, Chinka on the left, and there's like the Feathery sister cleavage, like just right there between them, looking back and forth. Only the guys are talking here, and she's like right in the fucking center. Dead with camera, and the camera's not even like at their eye levels, it's down to chest level. Right? Like you can see their faces, but it's aimed right at the cleavage. Raguri tells Chinka that they are sad to report that there is a very serious problem. Raguri informs Chinka that the star was stolen. Before we get a reaction, the jungle girl, she's a blonde woman in a blue dress, appears. Chinka says, "Please accept these gifts as proof of my appreciation and deep admiration of his fiancée." So obviously now basically there's an arranged marriage between Chinka and the jungle girl. Feathery sister tells them, "May your life always be filled with happiness." Chinka has his servants hand her a couple of items. We never get to see what they are, but Chinka says to count on him to retrieve the star of great power. Raguri thanks him for putting off the wedding until the star is found. Raguri says that the wedding must not be tarnished by any kind of trouble. We now cut back to Kiria's lair and a group of harem girls, and Kiria herself, they're just dancing around the star. Kiria is in a different outfit, but again, the cleavage is, of course, still on display for everyone's benefit. The luchador bodyguard and the chick who stole the star are in the background. They're just standing in the background. They're just standing there. They stop dancing, and Kiria says that she senses that something has happened in her sister's palace. Now these two decide to go to the Oracle. I don't know if it's the same Oracle or a different Oracle, but they just go to a mirror with like the same Aztec mask on it, and except this one is purple, not gold like the last one. Um, Kyria asks the Oracle to grant her the knowledge of what has happened at her sister's palace. The Oracle tells her that Prince Chinka has arrived and at the palace to ask for the Jungle Girl's hand so that they can marry. Kyria looks pissed at this and turns to the Lucha bodyguard and tells him that she swears to him that the Jungle Girl will never get married. Now an old man walks from behind the mask. At first I thought he was the Oracle, which I was gonna laugh my ass off because he's a very Caucasian looking gentleman, but he's just a priest. Um, but the priest tells him that the prophecy says that she will never have complete power until the Jungle Girl has been sacrificed. Kyria tells the Lucha Guard that they will prepare the sacrifice and that he has to fetch the Jungle Girl. And he tells her, "Your wish is my command," and then basically leaves. He leaves to go fetch. Um, so now we cut over to Santo and Cliff. They're arriving at the airport in a very nice Corvette, nice silver Corvette, and they park right beside the frickin' plane. Like, I'm pretty sure even back in the 80s, you could not just drive onto an airport runway and just park your fucking car right next to a plane. But they pull right up beside the plane and they immediately board. We get some stock. It's basically a bunch of stock footage of a plane flying over in the sky, and then it goes to like the pilot, like the pilot and co-pilot fucking with a bunch of buttons and that. We now cut back to the palace by the water. It's like basically by the river. As Chinka and Raguri they're just walking. Raguri tells Chinka that the Jungle Girl for them is the deity that brought them to the knowledge of goodness inside the star of great power. But she also brought them misfortune. Because of that, Kyria has decided to leave them and become the priestess of evil. Her jealousy when the Jungle Girl arrived was dreadful. Prince Chinka asks how she arrived. Raguri tells him that many years ago, in a nearby forest, they were attracted by a strange light. And then it basically goes into the flashback, where we see basically the star is sitting in a bunch of weeds and vines. Raguri, Kuria, and the feathery sister walk up on the star. We then see a baby sitting beside what I assume is I think they're supposed to be wolves, but they're actually like Belgian Malinois. A Belgian Malinois is it's a police dog essentially. Now the police use the Malinois a lot more than they do German Shepherds anymore. But it's a Malinois puppy, mama with her puppies. The prophecy had been fulfilled. Raguri walks over to the Jungle Girl while the sisters watch. Raguri says she was raised among peaceful wolves. Curia, feeling left behind, decided to leave them and embark on a path of evil. Neil, they just found the baby, and Curia's like, "No, fuck this. I'm going over on the dark side. They got cookies." And just walks away. You know, Raguri, again, not knowing what this thing is, just gets down and starts bowing to the glowing rock. Raguri says that the stone is a star of great power. It comes from the cosmos, bringing them all of its strength and knowledge, and the Jungle Girl is its deity. That is the origin of the Jungle Girl, who will bring light to your life if it's your destiny. We then cut to Jungle Girl in her hut. With I wrote down it was one of Chinka's servants, but it's actually her brother. And Jungle Girl says her new life has been decided. The servant asks if she thinks his master should decide that for her, and she says she owes Prince Chinka her obedience. I'm sorry, it's Brother Wolf is the servant's name. But Brother Wolf asks if her feelings are important too. She calls him brother and says all of their feelings are important. She tells Brother Wolf to come with her. We cut outside. It's Jungle Girl and Brother Wolf walking down a path, and Luchador bodyguard and a henchman crouching down. They're trying to be sneaky, but they're not doing a really good job of it. We see that Jungle also has a dog with her, which is another one of her brothers. And the henchman gets or not the henchman. The henchman gets attacked by the guard while Lucha Guard starts beating the. Again, I'm going to use the same one, beating the brakes off of Brother Wolf. Lucha Guard was almost like a Michinoku driver off the steps to Brother Wolf. Wrestling fans will know what a Michinoku driver is. While the dog chases off the henchman, Prince Chinka and a few of Feathery Sister's guards appear as Lucha Guard quickly tries to kidnap Jungle Girl. Lucha Guard quickly handles the guards while Chinka accidentally just kicks the shit. One of his servants is grabbing um the Lucha Guard. Lucha Guard basically moves as King Shot's going for I said super kick, but it's just like a fucking savate kick right to the fucking face. And now we get a fight. We get a quick fight scene between Lucha Guard and Chinka. And Prince Chinka just beats the shit out of Lucha Guard. Lucha Guard runs away after after Chinka pretty much just kung fu kicks his ass. Just this China, it's supposed to be, I can't remember. I don't know. They never really say where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be China or Japan. So it could be karate. It could be kung fu. I don't know. Now we cut over to Santo and he's walking through the jungle. And this is the part where I said earlier where it dawns on me that there is no original soundtrack to this movie. Because they walk past the waterfall. And like I said, it sounds like someone's pouring a glass of water into like a pot of water or like an already existing bowl of water or something. It basically nothing like it sounds more like a running brook than it does a waterfall. Nowhere near as loud as sounding as loud as it should have been. Hold on one second. Sorry, but that had to sneeze, and I didn't think you guys wanted to hear that. But Santo and Cliff are still walking. Cliff asks Santo if he has any idea where they're going. And Santo just basically said, "Yeah, I received a message." Cliff's like, "Well, when, where, how?" Santo tells him that it was a telepathic message. And Cliff's like, Cliff basically doesn't seem to believe him as they get into a fan. They basically walk up and get into a fan boat. Santo is walking through the jungle in his full wrestling gear, including his cape and mask, of course. They don't take the mask off, though. They travel down the river where we see some natives peeking out, but they're not natives. They're actually Kiria's henchmen. And the henchmen start giving each other drum signals. It's almost like they're basically talking through the drums. We now cut to Kiria's lair as she sits on a rock chair. Again, cleavage just hanging up. That bikini top is hanging on for dear life. She says that a man with no face has arrived on the island. And we now see, that's when I basically realized that the natives were actually Kiria's guards. As they're wearing the same headbands as the henchmen in the lair. She tells them to send message at once to follow that man and to kill him. Apparently, Santo has something to do with the prophecy as well. The men in the field respond with more drumming. As the fan boat's going by, they literally start firing blow darts. And then every time they fire a blow dart, it goes to the fan boat and it starts spinning out of control. They don't actually hit anything, but the fan boat is spinning out of control. It's weird. Santo tells Cliff to stay low as they start speeding through the weeds, because the fan boat can actually go on land or water. They finally reach the shore they need to and say goodbye to the driver. didn't hit a fucking thing with them blow darts. Cliff is basically happy to be on dry land again. We now cut to Waguri and Feathery Sister. Again, still no name for her. And Prince Chinka in the study again. Waguri tells them that they have to hide the Jungle Girl immediately, and it's not possible to do it at the palace. She's not safe at the palace. Waguri just remembered somewhere in the palace that is in I guess the kingdom that is completely hidden. The House of Meditation. Kunyan will take her there. Now we finally learn the sister's name. Her name is Kunyan. Prince Chinka says they will take her if they think it was for the best. Kunyan says, "Let's prepare for everything. Prepare for everything then." And she walks away again. The camera zooms in almost on the cleavage, and it's bouncing. Like this movie might as well have been King Santo versus the cleavage, because good lord. We cut to the outside where Jungle Girl is walking with Brother Wolf. I wrote for who is now a dog for some reason, but it's the dog. I think Brother Wolf is the dog, and the other one, the human, is a servant. And asks what he thinks of Chinka. Now here's my again another thing I have a problem with. Why is she by herself in the middle of a field? This bitch was almost just kidnapped, and they leave her by herself. There's nobody around her to protect her. She tells them they need to leave this place and that she would never leave him behind. She says they will be very happy and never be apart. She says that she and him will begin a new life. We cut basically back to Kyria, again, barely contained in the top. The henchmen are still communicating through the drums, and we now see Santo and Cliff arriving at what appears to be an airport. It's like there's basically there's a couple of planes in the middle of a grassy field. The henchmen suddenly appear and attack Cliff and Santo. The pilot basically goes, "Fuck this!" Jumps in the plane and fires it up. So the propellers are running. Cliff and Santo fight off the henchmen, and then one decides to square up with Santo, and he's got a sword. He lunges at Santo, misses completely, and then he runs right into the fucking propeller, and apparently just cuts him in half. The visual and the scene is actually pretty damn funny. The way it happened, I wish I could describe it the way it happened, because it was actually pretty funny how it happened. The camera pans over and it shows his dead body cut in half. This is our first death in the movie, and we're 35 minutes into the movie. Santo and Cliff get into the airplane, which runs right over the split in half body. Like, just runs right over it. Not a second thought, nothing. It's like, well, that happened. All right, you guys are going to go. Let's go. We now cut back over to Kira's lair, where Luchadore is back with no Jungle Girl. She asks what happened, and he says he couldn't do it. She says, well, that's a problem. She tells Luchadore that there is a man with no face that has arrived. He is on the way to Aguri's palace. It seems that the prophecy is about to come true. We cut into the airplane where Cliff is now bitching about being in an airplane, and Cliff is starting to get on my fucking nerves. The plane lands, and Santo and Cliff get off the plane. We cut back to Waguri's palace, where Feathery Sister and Jungle Girl, I put Feathery Sister still, Kunyang and Jungle Girl are headed to the House of Meditation. Waguri tells them that he will catch up once Santo arrives. Now, Kunyang and Jungle Girl are being carried to the House of Meditation. It's one of those things where, like, there's a chair on a platform. They sit on the platform, and then four men lift it up, and they walk like that. Like, they're being fucking carried. We cut back to the jungle where Santo and Cliff, they just find themselves a boat. Regular motorboat. Nothing special about it. But we get some stock footage of some parrots and an alligator as Santo starts the boat and they head off down the river. And one of the funny things I saw was that the boat has Alabama Jacks on the side of it. Again, where is this movie supposed to take place? Like, it's very confusing, especially because they have to go in the middle of fucking nowhere, apparently, to get to this place. And why couldn't they just take the fan boat the entire way? When did the river stop being a river and they're like, all right, get out, time to fly? Like, it ugh. So now we cut to the procession where Kunyan and is basically directed on where to go from her chair being carried by four men. We cut back to Santo and Clip. Basically, it's a lot of what Santo and Clip is just them traveling. It's them riding down the river again. Clip still being a bitch. We cut back to the procession, walking through the jungle and some more animal stock footage. But in the bushes, we start to see Kiria's henchmen spying on them. We cut back to the boat, speeding down the river. Again, Santo looking awesome in the boat, but nothing's happening. Now we have a henchman throwing literal stick. Like, he drives by this henchman and he's got a stick going, ha! Throwing it like a javelin. Like, here, this will be mildly annoying if it hits you. No, fuck that guy. As they're still traveling down the river, we go back to the procession and they're walking. We now, like, basically does that a couple of times. It goes, here's Santo and Clip in a boat. Here's the procession walking. Here's Santo and Clip in a boat. Here's the procession walking. Oh, here's some stock footage of a parrot, of monkeys, of an alligator. Kind of got annoying after a little bit. We now finally cut again to Raguri's palace as Santo and Cliff finally arrive. Raguri greets them as they exit the boat, and Santo says he got Raguri's message and came as fast as he could. Santo says it must be really important. Raguri says it is and offers Santos his hospitality and tells him he needs to rest before they leave for the house of meditation. And now we get a lot more of the drum signals between Kiria's henchmen. Kiria enters her lair and tells Luchadore that the man with no face has arrived at the palace. She says that a procession with Jungle Girl and her sister are headed south. She says they must get there first. Luchadore says, of course. Kiria tells him he must not fail this time, and that sacrificing Jungle Girl will bring them power. He turns and basically the girl from earlier in the white was standing right there with him. He turns to look at her, and Kiria tells him he better keep his word. Luchadore walks away, leaving Kiria with the woman from earlier, and she's not taking her eyes off of this woman. We now get more stock footage of alligators as the procession has finally arrived to the river. And it blows, and again, bothers me because it's probably the same river that was right outside the palace, and Jungle Girl and Brother Wolf, they said they could have just rode down the fucking river. Jungle Girl and Brother Wolf enter the boat with Kunyang, who I swear at this point I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing Areola at this point. Chinka and others enter the boat and head down the river. We now have another procession to carry Raguri to the house of meditation, with Santo and Cliff walking beside. We cut back to the river and they talk about how Mother Earth blesses them and pretend to point at animals. We're doing that thing again now where we're cutting back and forth, and instead of Kunyang and Jungle Girl, their procession being the ones walking, now they're in the boat, and El Santo and Cliff and their procession are now walking. We also get a shot of Luchadore heading downriver in his with henchmen in their boat. Cliff asks if they could be attacked by a lion there, and Santo just literally laughs at that dumbass question. The first procession arrives at their destination finally. They arrive at the meditation house. Prince Chinka helps Kunyang out of the boat and just walks away from Jungle Girl. The other servant helps Jungle Girl out of the boat. Raguri's procession stops. Then we come back to Riguri's possession where they stop, and Santo says that persistent drumming has him worried. Santo says he can almost understand the language. Um, Riguri says it's Kiria's henchman and sister to Kunyang. And finally, 51. I put I got I got the name earlier, but I put finally 51 minutes into the movie. We got it, but I got it earlier. Riguri says she is a dangerous woman. Santo shakes his head and walks away. We get more footage of Luchadore just heading down the river, and we cut to the first procession reaching the house of meditation. Kunyang tells Kunyang tells Prince Chinka to make himself at home, and she tells Jungle Girl to rest, and they will be safe there. Uh, the servant tells Prince Chinka that he hopes they will be safe there. Um, we now cut back to nighttime at Kiria's lair, and she tells the priest from earlier that the man with no face is there to save the Jungle Girl, and he is nearby. The priest tells her to kill him, like she hasn't already been trying to do that. She says the grand astral equinox will occur tonight. The ritual of death will give her all the power all she will need to become the scourge of death for the man with no face. She tells the women around the star to begin the ritual. And Kyria just starts to dance around the star. And I'm talking, she's shaking her hips, grinding at it, like just dancing. The group of harem women start to dance around it as well. But no one is looking at anybody except for Kyria for obvious reasons. After a few minutes of dancing, she turns and yells, "Yeah!" The thunder and fire hit, and she becomes that ugly sumbitch from earlier. The short, fat, you know, the short, fat, in shape, out of shape guy with the hair. I guess it's supposed to be hair all over his body, but it's like glued onto him, and it looks like leeches. The fire roars again as we cut to the woods as the new procession is taking a break. All of a sudden, the monster Kyria turned into shows up, and Santo goes to fight it. They trade punches at first, which Kyria gets the better of, and then we cut to Griguri, who's holding a motherfucking gun. He could have shot this sumbitch. He could have shot it and ended the scene quickly, but it wouldn't be a Santo movie without Santo fighting a monster. So Santo beats the monster down with it. He just gives a stick and just starts whacking at it. He ends up pushing it into the water, where it starts to fight with an alligator. Um, the There's the thunderclap and fire appear again, and Kyria is and basically the monster disappears. Kyria is back, transported back to the lair where she immediately just starts dancing again. And she starts shaking her chest so hard, she's about to knock someone out with them things. Like they're going everywhere. We cut back to the river where Riguri and Santo's procession are now in the boat from earlier, traveling down the river to the meditation house. We cut back to Kyria. She's still dancing around the star. And I wrote down that she is shaking her body so hard. I'm impressed that top has held out. Man, good. Whoever made that top, bravo. Because you did some fine work, sir, ma'am, or sir. More and more dancing for quite a bit of time. Kyria has now turned into the tiger. Riguri, Clip, and Santo arrive to the shore, and the tiger attacks. Santo tells Riguri to wait here, as obviously someone in a Santo mask. It's basically, it's like they put the trainer of the tiger in a Santo mask and the cape, and had him pretend to fight the tiger. But Santo is fighting the tiger, and then it cuts back to Santo fucking choking out the tiger. He has the tiger in a chokehold, and it ends up disappearing, and Riguri looks confused. Kyria appears again at her lair, and the old priest looks and goes, "Did you kill him?" She said, "No, I couldn't do it." Like the way he just looks at it, he goes, "Well, did you do it?" Now we cut to Luchagard and the henchmen land on the shore. Curia tells the priest that Tinieblas, finally 1 hour and 3 minutes into the movie, we finally get his name, and he is closing in on Jungle Girl. She says he has to help him, but she beckons the harem girls, over, and they all begin to dance again. Now we cut to the meditation house where Kun Yang is sleeping on a couch, while Girl has the whole bed to herself. Tiniablas and his henchmen show up and start fighting with Chinka's guards. And this is actually a pretty cool fight scene. It's a fun fight scene. Tiniablas hits one with a drop kick and a body slam before, like, basically bending him over his knee in a backbreaker. The dog starts to fight starts to bark as Tiniablas shows up to try to kidnap the Jungle Girl again. The servant her servant grabs a sword and starts to fight off the henchman while Chinka starts whooping up on Tiniablas again. But Tiniablas is actually fighting back this time. We cut back to the servant fighting the henchman. The dog has actually jumped off the bed and is attacking another one. And we go back to Chinka beating the absolute brakes off of Tiniablas. Another henchman shows up to fight the Brother Wolf. I keep saying Brother Wolf. It's not Brother Wolf. The servant, and this guy also has a sword. Tiniablas knocks Chinka out and fights off another guard as Brother Wolf kills he stabs the henchman with the sword. The dog and the henchman inside the tent are still fighting in the house. And basically, Jungle Girl and Kunyang is holding back Jungle Girl, who wants to help the dog. But the henchman ends up killing the dog, like choking it to death. Kunyang starts fighting the henchman now, and Tiniabla shows up, and they basically just take Jungle Girl, leaving Kunyang crying in the tent, and they end up tying her up. The henchman is still fighting another henchman, or servant is still fighting another henchman when Kiria, in the form of a cobra, appears from behind. We cut over to Tiniablas, who is now putting Jungle Girl in the boat and leaving. We have another guard trying to fight a henchman with a sword, but the henchman, the servant or guard, has a fucking switchblade. Kiria's like, "Yeah, we're not going to do this shit." And as the Viper bites the guard, the henchman, basically the guard is dead. He just drops dead. The servant, Jungle Girl servant, kills the henchman and goes to untie Kun Yang. The Viper is slowly slithering its way towards the servant, and Wolf goes and basically, Kun Yang warns him about the snake behind him. He turns around to stab it, misses the first time. The snake bites him, and basically he swipes again at the snake, hitting it, sending Kiri back to her lair, and the servant dies before he can untie Kun Yang. We now cut over to Santo, Rugari, and Cliff finally arriving at the meditation house, and they find Chinka alive. Rugari basically goes to look for Jungle Girl and Kun Yang, but he finds Kun Yang in there. He unties her, and they mourn over the servant and the dog, basically saying how great they were and all that good stuff. Um, I am so sorry. I was muted that whole time, wasn't I? Um, let's see. We'll just start back up here in the beginning. Basically, we get more dancing around the star. Tiniablas is spinning down the river with Jungle Girl. There's more drumming going on. Kyria hears the drums and tells the priest that the girl is coming. Rugari introduces Chinka and Kunyang to Santo. Santo hears the drums and says he recognizes the code. He tells them that they are taking Jungle Girl to be a part of a sacrifice. We cut back to Kyria's lair where the priest says they need to do another sacrifice. Why? Are you going to tell us why? No? All right. Kyria tells the henchman to just grab the girl in white who stole the star, the girl from early who stole the star, and that they're going to sacrifice her. So naturally, they grab her and just yeet her down into the pit, into fire. They don't do any kind of like ritual or prayer. They just throw her ass into the pit. Now we cut to Santo and crew floating down the river on their boats. The priests. We cut back to the lair, and the priests are doing their prayer while waiting for Jungle Girl to arrive. Kyria tells them that there isn't much time left, and I think it's weird that the boat scenes are clearly midday and the lair scenes are at night. We get more drum signals from Kyria, or as Kyria listens and tells them that the man with no face is coming to them. The henchmen open a giant rock door, and Tiniablas walks in with the unconscious Jungle Girl. Tiniablas says that his promise has been fulfilled. The harem girls all come in wearing these weird Aztec masks, skull masks. Kira begins the ritual for the Jungle Girl's sacrifice. As she starts dancing again, and the harem girls just basically start walking in a circle around Jungle Girl's body, kind of dancing, kind of just walking. We now cut back to the boat again just because we have to keep watching Santo, travel down the river. Back to the lair where Kyria starts her dancing again. And now we just get a long scene basically with them dancing, with the dancing of the harem girls and Kyria. Basically shaking her hips and her chest, trying to knock somebody out with them things again. The priests are doing their thing on the altar as Kyria is dancing around Jungle Girl and the star. I wrote down, I'm sure this will end soon as she's been dancing for like 3 minutes. The priest comes off the altar and is about to stab Jungle Girl for the sacrifice when Santo appears and yells, "Stop!" Santo leaps down and starts fighting with Tiniablas. Punches him a few times, but Tiniablas puts him in a choke that Santo easily escapes from. They wrestle around for a little bit before Santos basically starts trying to drown Tiniablas. Prince Chinka has begun just basically beating the snot out of the rest of the henchmen as Santo keeps slapping the shit out of Tiniablas. Kyria tries to sneak up on her sister with a knife. Santo body slams Tiniabla, and apparently that knocks him out. Santo then stops Kyria from stabbing Kunyang. Santo goes over and basically saves Cliff and Rugari, who have all of a sudden been attacked by henchmen as well. A couple of the henchmen that basically Prince Chinka wasn't fighting. Kyria and Tiniabla raise their arms and disappear, escaping the man with no face, aka El Santo. We now cut to basically back to the original temple, where Rugari is saying a prayer as the stars return to its temple. Rugari says that now there are no more distractions, and now they can have a wedding. Santos says that there is still evil out there, and they need to stay vigilant. It focuses on the camera focuses on the star, the glowing rock. There are no credits because all the credits were at the beginning of the film. That's it. That's the end of El Santo and the Fist of Death. Why was it called the Fist of Death? We don't know. Just because it sounded cool. So yeah, that's the movie. We'll do the rating here in a minute. Let me see if I can bring it back up. There's the movie, the IMDb page back up real quick. Santo. And the Fist of Death. There we go. Yeah, there's no reason why it was called the Fist of Death, like, at all. We talked about the director and everything from earlier. So it was followed by The Fury of the Karate Experts, which appears to be a sequel, so we might have to do that. It was released in Mexico on December 9th, 1982. Country of origin, of course, is Mexico. Language is Spanish. It is also known as El Puño de la Muerte. Production company, I'm not even going to try to say that name because I'm going to butcher it to hell. Runtime is about an hour and 37 minutes. It goes quick, though, in all honesty. There's really no trivia or anything like that for the movie, so we're going to go straight into the ratings. I had fun watching it. I'm not going to shit on this movie entirely. I think they didn't really do it justice with the dubbing. Because I think they went the silly route with it, but it's not a terrible movie. Again, you're talking 1982 low budget cinematography and stuff like that. So I mean, you kind of gotta put your expectations way out there. Um, I can honestly give this movie a solid 3, maybe 3 point, maybe 3.25 uh, headlocks. How about that? 3.25 headlocks. Um, the story's interesting. The filmmaker obviously wanted to focus on the sisters' cleavage because they was way out there for everybody to see. Santo movies are always fun to watch, but yeah, I mean, I can say give it this a one, give it a one time watch at least, give it a try. Why not? Um, so normally that would do it for us, but I figure because we're not right now, the wrestling show is on a hiatus. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry about that. Um, since the wrestling podcast on the Owlite Network is on a hiatus right now, I figure why the heck, since it is SummerSlam week and we're celebrating SummerSlam by watching a movie, or watching a wrestling movie or a wrestler's movie, why the heck not go ahead and throw out my picks for SummerSlam tomorrow night. Um, because like I said, we're not doing the wrestling show right now. Hopefully that's going to come back here soon, sooner than later. Um, I ain't been able to talk wrestling for a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into these because we have been running for a pretty long time, and I know Chainers is getting ready to start on the Owlite Network. So let's go ahead and just run down the card real quick, and I'll give my picks and a quick synopsis of what I think is going to happen. The first match listed, of course, is the most anticipated match: CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the referee. This will be CM Punk's first WWE singles match in like 12 years, if not longer, maybe 11 years. 11 or 12 years, I think. This is a hard one to pick. Because Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee. Seth has, of course, beef with both of these guys. Um, he's had about a year long feud now with Drew McIntyre. And of course, CM Punk at the last pay per view, which was Money in the Bank. At Money in the Bank, kind of ruined Seth Rollins' opportunity at winning the world title from Damian Priest. Drew Drew McIntyre, of course, came down, cashed in Money in the Bank, and then CM Punk jumped in the ring and started attacking Drew McIntyre, and which led to Damian Priest pinning Drew McIntyre and costing Seth the match. And at the time, basically the stipulation of the match was that if Seth Rollins didn't win the match, he could not challenge Damian Priest for the belt again. I think that went away the next night because Damian Priest said anytime, anywhere. But this is going to be a hard match to call. But no, honestly, I think Drew McIntyre's going to win, and Seth Rollins is going to inadvertently cost Punk the match. Because Drew is basically on the run of a lifetime right now. Punk is coming back. This is Punk's first match back since the Royal Rumble, and his first again singles match on TV in at least 11 years for WWE, of course. We're not going to discuss AEW shit. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think Seth Rollins is going to inadvertently cost CM Punk the match. And I think we're going to get, I think they're going to try to extend that till WrestleMania because Rollins and Punk at WrestleMania is is a money match. So we'll see what happens though. But that's what I think's going to happen. I'm calling Drew McIntyre is going to win. Wins Seth Rollins inadvertently costs him the match, costs CM Punk the match. Kind of like, I don't know if you remember back in the 90s where it was Kevin Nash and, or was it Nash? It was Undertaker and Bret Hart had a match with Shawn Michaels as the referee, and Shawn Michaels accidentally went to super kick Undertaker, accidentally super kicked Bret Hart, and was it vice versa? No, he went to kick. I think he went to kick Bret Hart, and he accidentally kicked the Undertaker, costing him the match. And then that's when the Undertaker, when it started going after Shawn Michaels. So yeah, I think they're gonna pull something like that off. But moving on, the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defending against Solo Sikoa. I think Cody Rhodes is calling in the Avengers again. Cody is not losing this belt anytime soon, guys. He's just not going to lose that belt anytime soon. I think he calls in the Avengers. Rollins shows back, or not Rollins. KO shows back up. Randy Orton shows back up. I think Jimmy Uso comes in this week, or returns tonight or tomorrow night. And they cost Solo the world title. Jimmy Uso might come back tonight and cost Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga the belts tonight, the tag titles. We don't know, but I think that's what's going to happen. I know the big thing is Roman coming back tonight? I don't think he is. I don't think. I know everybody wants the big match at Summer Survivor Series, the War Games match, to be the original Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, but I don't think you're going to get that. I think we're going to get a reunion of the Usos here soon. I think we will get some type of match between Roman and the Usos against the new Bloodline. But we'll see. I could be 100% be wrong, because that would be a money match too. Is Roman Reigns coming back for Survivor Series? I'm going to change it. I think Roman's coming back tomorrow. I do think Roman's coming. Thinking about it now, the match for WrestleMania has to be Roman and The Rock. I think that has to be the match for WrestleMania. So yeah, I can see Roman coming back tomorrow night, Jimmy Uso coming back tonight or tomorrow, and then going after the Bloodline that leads up to, of course, War Games in November at Survivor Series. But yeah, Cody's not losing that belt, guys. I'm sorry to say, Cody's not losing it. World Heavyweight Championship match. Damian Priest will be defending against Gunther. That's going to be a hell of a match. I love the storyline they got going into this with Rich Silver Spoon. Rich guy born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Gunther fighting the poor street trash Damian Priest, growing up in the in Queens or I guess New York technically. Was he? He may have grown up. He's Puerto Rican, so he may have grown up in Puerto Rico. I don't know where. I really don't know where he was born or anything, but basically, poor street trash Damian Priest versus Gunther. A month ago, I would tell you right now, Gunther's winning that belt, and he still might. This is another hard one to call, but with how they're pushing it, I think Damian Priest is keeping the belt. I do. I don't think we're going to get a title change tomorrow at all. Um, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, I think Damian Priest is keeping the belt. I think they're going to cook Gunther a little bit longer. Gunther will be champion one day. No question about it. But I think this is still Damian Priest's time, at least till January, maybe even till WrestleMania. We don't know, but I'm enjoying the storyline now. I enjoyed the storyline this month. So we'll see tomorrow night. But I think Damian Priest is keeping it, and I don't see any shenanigans unless the only way I take it back. The only way Damian Priest loses is if Finn Balor turns tomorrow, which could be happening. Because I think the Judgment Day ends tomorrow. Uh, moving on, WWE Women's Championship. Bailey versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax is taking that belt, guys. Nia Jax is winning that belt tomorrow. Tiffy might cash in. I don't think so, but I think Nia Jax is becoming women's champion tomorrow. Um, Bailey's run this time has kind of not gone anywhere or did anything. It's kind of been boring. But I think Nia Jax is winning that belt tomorrow. Tiffany Stratton could have something to do with it, but I do think Nia Jax is beating Bailey for the belt. So moving on to the Women's World Championship, Liv Morgan defends against Mommy the returning Rhea Ripley. And I think Liv Morgan is keeping the belt. I don't think there's a title change there because I think, especially after last week, Dominic is 100% turning on Rhea Ripley. Um, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think Dominic's going to turn on Rhea. JD and Finn are going to turn on Damian Priest. So, I mean, Gunther might win the belt tomorrow to start the breakup of the Judgment Day, but Dominic is going to turn on Rhea tomorrow and cost her the match and go basically be with Liv. So yeah, I think Liv Morgan is keeping that belt. Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn defends the Intercontinental title against the upstart, the rookie, probably the rookie of the year, Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker being the son of Rick Steiner, but looks, acts, and talks a lot more like Scott. He's a badass. He's a beast. He's winning the title tomorrow. Sammy's had a really good title run, but it's time for Braun to break out and become the monster and beast that he is. So yes, Braun Breaker is winning that belt. And finally, the United States Championship. Logan Paul will defend the belt against L.A. Knight. And for Matt, L.A. Knight, yeah. LA Knight's winning that belt. It has nothing to do with what's got posted yesterday. He was winning that belt tomorrow way before Logan Paul opened his mouth and kind of put his foot in it. I'm not going to talk about what he said or anything like that because the Owl Light Network does have a very strict no politics, no religion, no politics policy, and I'm not going to get into that. But Logan Paul put his foot, it has nothing to do with what Logan Paul said yesterday. Logan Paul was not winning, was not keeping the belt. It's LA Knight's time to shine. He can't have a world title. He can't have the WWE title. So we're going to give him the U.S. title. Let him have a nice long run with the U.S. title. That's fine. He needs a belt. He's one of the most over acts on the show. LA Knight, yeah, wins the belt. So those are my picks for tomorrow night. Now we've gone 2.5 hours. I know Chainers is getting ready to start up here in about 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. You guys can find me everywhere. Bloody Binge Wrestling Movie Podcast or Wrestling, the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. Hopefully by next week we can start streaming on X again, because I do have the premium account. And for some reason it wouldn't let me do it tonight, I think, because I just re-signed up for it today, and it hasn't taken effect yet. They have to like approve it and shit like that. But you can also, any movie suggestions, email me at bloodybinge@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitch at Sewer Dweller 1978, or I'm sorry, Sewer Dweller 78 on Twitch. I'm getting ready to get back on there now that I got some new headphones. Hopefully these sound okay enough to get back on there. Um, and you can also, of course, find us on the Owl Light Network every Friday at 4 p.m. Today was a fluke that we started at 6, but usually we will start at 4 p.m. 4:05 at the absolute latest on the Owl Light Network pages. Thank you guys for joining me today. Hope everyone enjoys SummerSlam weekend. I hope everybody's watching. I hope some people are watching SmackDown right now and enjoying themselves. But guys, keep watching horror movies and be good to each other. See you next week.